Welcome back. A death penalty case in Texas could hinge on a medical question. Did Robert Roberson's 2-year-old daughter die from shaken baby syndrome or complications related to pneumonia? Roberson was sentenced to death in 2003. His lawyers argue the conviction was based on an outdated science. And now a group of Democrat and Republican lawmakers are rushing to his defense. This comes as Republican Governor Greg Abbot says last night's hearing intervening in the death penalty sentence was, quote, out of line. Roberson was set to be executed late last week, and one church leader says that he is praying that it never takes place.
I know that in my own diocese, I received letters from within the diocese as well as from outside the diocese, phone calls, emails simply saying, please, please speak on behalf of Mr. Roberson. We need to raise our voices up in defense of this man. And so definitely we as bishops in the state of Texas have done that. We have spoken very clearly that this man should not be executed. We believe that indeed he is innocent and that at least his case should be reviewed to allow those who have decision powers over this to be able to review his case and make a decision.
In 2018, Pope Francis changed the catechism of the Catholic Church to say that, quote, the death penalty is inadmissible. Robert Roberson was sentenced to die last Thursday, but a bipartisan group of Texas lawmakers worked together to stop the execution for now. Democratic State Representative Joe Moody is the chairman of a state House committee who led the effort. He's also Catholic. Moody explained to EWTN News Nightly how his views on the death penalty shifted after Pope Francis changed the church's stance on the issue.
In certain circumstances, it's okay. And that was the position of the church up until that point. And for me, I could rationalize that. There are bad people that do bad things, and this is punishment that is warranted in certain cases. And that was a position I held. And when the Pope made those changes, I mean, that spoke to my heart. And it also made me sit and think about my rationale. A lot of times we ask whether someone deserves to die. And that's not the right question. It is, do we have the right to kill them? And when you put that in context with your faith, like I have, the only answer you can come to, and the Pope's pronouncement on this is very clear, no, we don't have that right, because you're depriving that individual of the opportunity to be molded and shaped by God. And in fact, Robert, when we met with Robert, we prayed with him. His faith is very important to him. I think he spends most of his time in prison studying and developing his faith and his relationship with God. And it was on display when we met with him. We met with him for over 90 minutes a couple weeks ago. And when we sat and prayed with him, we prayed for him and prayed for the very dire circumstances that were there. And we asked for whatever God's will is, let's let that work in this situation. And when it stopped, he started to pray for us in our work. And it was a powerful moment. We talk about the power of prayer a lot, but that was a moment I will never forget. He told us, I'm never going to forget that you guys came here and you prayed with me. And I told him, we assured him, we will never forget that.
All right, for more, I want to bring in another lawmaker from Texas, Republican State Representative Lacey Hull. Representative Hull, thank you so much for joining us. We just heard from a Democrat lawmaker, and you're, of course, a Republican who is actually on the same side of this issue. Is it unusual in Texas for Democrats and Republicans to come together like this, and why this issue?
This bipartisan effort to help save Robert Roberson is like nothing I have ever seen before. I'm very proud to be a member of the Texas House.
And why do you think he deserves a new trial?
We have seen, if you go back and look at the trial records, if you look at everything filed by the defense and the state, if you listen to the two committee hearings that we have had last week and this week, you will hear and see that it's very clear Robert did not have a proper defense and he did not have a fair trial. He did not have due process. And so that is what we are asking for Robert to have a new trial.
All right. And Governor Greg Abbot says that lawmakers, quote, stepped out of line with last night's hearing. Your thoughts on that? And if you had a chance to respond to him, what would you say?
Within the legislature, we have to make sure that our laws that we pass as the state of Texas are being followed. And it's very clear that our junk science statute was not followed here, that the courts were not granting relief under that statute. They were not giving Robert a new trial under that statute. So it is the legislators' ability and their purpose to make sure, and the oversight that we have to make sure that our laws are followed. And that is what the House Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence did, to see and investigate what happened, was the law followed, and what changes do we need to make.
Representative Hull, I know one thing we mentioned is one of the questions was a medical question, whether it was shaken baby syndrome or pneumonia. What new information came out about that?
Well, one of the original jurors testified yesterday about that exact thing. The whole trial, as the juror said, and what you can see in the trial record, from start, middle, and end, is about shaken baby. They never presented any other possible explanation. So all of her medical history, how she had breathing apnea, viral and bacterial pneumonia, all of her medical conditions were never shared with the jury. So they never had a chance to hear any of that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this with us. We really appreciate a very important case.
Thank you.